It's honestly just like a sort of a stress reliever. Like you just get to talk about some things that you sometimes don't want to burden other people with.
Name all the injuries that you can remember getting over the years.
Like in college, I dislocated my kneecap. Then I tore my meniscus in the same year. My rookie year, I had like a crack in the bottom of my patella. I had to go in and take that out. That was like the first big surgery I had. Tore my meniscus playing for USA basketball. My elbow got infected because they had to drain it because like I had bursitis, which I would always like play through. It wasn't really an injury. Got infected, so I had to have surgery, so I missed time for that. Broke my hand, 2 more meniscus. I think that's it so far.
What was the toughest period for you amid all the injuries?
I think it was like around the time when I tore the ligament in the bottom of my toe, because I was so regimented and so strict, and I still am, but like there was a period of like 2.5 years, 3 years where I had my elbow, my knee, and my foot in like back-to-back seasons. I would take pregame naps in a hyperbaric chamber. I would ice bath. You know, I would diet, everything I could possibly do, supplements, whatever it was, and I was still getting injured.
You couldn't get your break.
Yeah, and this was the 3rd year in a row, and I remember in the playoffs, I had to go get an MRI like during the end of the game, and the doctor came in and told me what happened, and I just broke down. And I just like was like, why? I'm doing everything I possibly can.
Yeah.
I've spent so much money, but I was doing so much to prevent that, and it just kept happening that it like, why am I doing all this? And this is still happening. Like, should I just like cut out? Should I just stop? Should I stop caring as much and not spend time sleeping in this hyperbaric chamber when I could be out like playing with my kids? You know what I mean? Like, should I stop sacrificing so much just to like try to like prolong or be healthy or do all this stuff? And that was just like a low point of thinking.
And how do you go about reorienting the thought process? Because you said you started to realize, if I wasn't making all these sacrifices and doing all this stuff,
Probably wouldn't be playing today.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, you sort of, I remember a certain point, I think it was maybe that night when I woke up after that injury, that I was like, all right, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Like, you still get to, you know, play this game, you still get to do the things you love. I'm gonna figure out when I'm gonna have surgery, I'm gonna start rehab, I'm gonna stay on my diet, I'm gonna do all this stuff, and I'm gonna get back. You know, like I said, it was just a momentary low point of thinking. Fortunately, it's always been somewhat easy to sort of bounce back into that mindset.
you have said before you've gone to see a therapist. Like, what caused you to make the decision to do that?
When I first got into the league, maybe my second year, like teams started to like have the idea to have sports. It's more like performance therapists.
Okay.
You know what I mean? People to help you with like your mindset or like visualization and all that. But then I sort of realized the importance of just like talking to somebody, especially growing up. Like, mental health was such a taboo subject.
Right.
That you kind of like, when you don't know too much about a subject, you kind of think it's not for you, it's for people with a certain thing.
But then after you go, you realize like everybody would benefit from having somebody completely objective.
Just somebody you could just tell things that you don't really tell anybody else.
Right.
When I decided to do that, I had just talked to my friend who was like, oh, I was talking about this in therapy, and I was like, maybe I should like just give this a try. Like, talk to somebody who like can literally just like hear your thoughts. And a different friend also told me that going to therapy isn't about going and telling somebody your problems and then giving you the answers. It's about going and telling them your problems and then them helping you arrive at the answers.
In what ways have you found it helpful to you?
It's honestly just like a stress reliever. Like, you just get to talk about some things that you sometimes don't want to burden other people with, you know? And it's just like a sounding board. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be going into it, which was very reassuring. I think that's like the best way I can describe it.
Just another tool to have at your disposal.
Yeah, exactly.
Meditation. I understand you started to get a little more open or interested in it once you realized it doesn't have to be this long time every time you do it.
Yeah, so I interviewed Andy Puttycombe on my podcast. He's a co-founder of Headspace. And my conversation with him sort of opened my eyes to it. And not that I was closed off to it. I just would like try, and I'm like, I can't do this. This is like, I'm supposed to do this for 30 minutes or 20 minutes. And he was like, just start with a minute. You know what I mean? And in your mind, before you do that, you're like, okay, I'm not going to meditate for a minute. That's like a disgrace to meditation everywhere. So that just sort of made me feel like whatever I could do was like enough. You know what I mean? When it came to meditation, I sort of started there, and then I sort of switched to like trying to just practice like more mindfulness, and just making sure that I'm like, you know, acknowledging things in my life, like thankful for things in my life, you know, every morning, like before I go about my day.